Today's episode contains some material and language that might not be suitable for everyone. Discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Plum Forest Podcast, where we give you modernized versions of classical Chinese fables and short stories. Before we get started, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, or even leave a comment because it lets me know that you're listening, and I like that. I hope everyone is staying safe during these weird times, but please do everything you can to try and stay safe. It'll be over soon. Today's episode is one of my favorite classical Chinese short stories. My version of it has to do with moonshining and some mystical things, and they change a woman's life. Who would have thought that moonshining and magic would work together, right? It's also got some good times had by newly met friends, along with some twists and turns that no one would or should see coming. I originally read this story in one of my literature classes while studying in Germany, and it's always stuck with me. My version of this story is based off of the famous short story Magic Well by Xue Tao. Xue Tao was one of the famous female poets who also wrote short stories during the Tang Dynasty. The Tang Dynasty was around 7th to 10th century AD, so it was a long time ago. Many of her works are about beauty and mysticism, just like the story you're about to hear today. But her original story is much different than the one we're going to be hearing today, so I can only hope I can do it right by my version of it. I got some good news for all the listeners. I've been working to get better and better at recording and editing, so the episode should sound much better than previous episodes. I've had many friends who are in the audio industry, and they have given me some pointers and tips to help it make it better for you, the listener. So, hopefully, you can hear the steps we've made to improve the quality of the story and the show. For all those new listeners, which is the majority of you because this is only the 3rd episode, please be sure to keep an open mind because these stories are really strange. And some things just won't make a lot of sense, but you just gotta roll with it, alright? And again, although some of the places and names are real in the story, it is completely fictional and I made it up all on my own. Well, not completely on my own because it was based off another story, but you know what I mean. Now that we got all that out of the way, here is today's story, The Everlasting Still. Many years ago in the northern part of Louisiana, there lived a woman by the name of Samantha. Sam, as she liked to go by, lived alone on a small farm with a few pigs and chickens to help her do her true passion of making good old moonshine. She usually kept to herself in her cottage making her great-grandpappy's recipe for moonshine and feeding her few livestock that she had. Because of the lifestyle that she chose, she usually kept to herself, and she only traveled into the city when it was necessary, and one of those times sure was a real doozy. One day on a return trip from the city, she noticed that there was a woman lying on the side of the road. She pulled her truck over to the side of the road and hollered at the lady.
Hey, you alright?
The woman on the ground didn't respond to the question.
Hello? You need a hand or anything?
The woman grunted and Sam decided to be a good citizen that she was and give her a lift to her cabin and tend to the woman for a short while, just to make sure she was okay. She picked the woman up off the ground and hurled the woman and her rucksack into the back of the pickup truck and continued on her way home. When they got home, Sam moved the woman from the truck into her house and put her down on her bed to give her some much-needed rest in a comfy bed. After a short while, the woman finally woke up with the smell of a stew being cooked over the fire.
Where am I?
Questioned the woman.
You're in my cabin. You look like you took a nasty spill and needed some help, so I brought you back here until we can get you all fixed up.
My lord, What a saint you are.
I try to just be a good human. Here, have some stew. It's a family recipe.
Sam handed her a bowl of some stew, and she scarfed it down faster than you could imagine. She really was hungry.
That was real good. Thank you.
Don't worry about it. You look like you could use a hand and some water. But now you gotta tell me what happened.
Ooh, you awfully are sweet. I was out collecting medicinal herbs when all of a sudden I got lightheaded and I guess I fell over. Then I woke up here, thanks to you.
Medicinal herbs? Are you one of those Cajun healers?
We're called Trayterra. But yeah, guess I'm one of those.
Wow, I've never actually met one of those. Obviously, you're not that good at one if you needed my help.
Sam replied with a grimace, and the two began chatting about each other's lives and their personal stories. After quite some time of just good old chit-chatting, Sam told this woman that she was a moonshiner and she made some good stuff.
A moonshiner? Why didn't you say so? I love moonshine. Let's try some of this good hooch out.
Sam complied and poured 2 glasses of her latest batch. They toasted to meeting new people before downing the drink.
Ooh! That's got some kick to it. Pretty good stuff, though. Actually, that's some really, really good stuff. You made this.
Sam gave a quick nod and a smile, and they continued pouring glass after glass of this moonshine, accompanied by a conversation that was similar to when 2 old friends met after not seeing each other for a long time. It was as if they'd known each other for years. They continued to drink, eat, and chat for some time, and as you could guess, both of them got good and drunk. Downing more glasses than anyone should, the 2 of them zonked out in the cabin and woke up the next morning.
Well, good morning there, Sam. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm just dandy.
I'm surprised you're even alive. How much do I owe you for all them drinks last night?
Owe me? Get out of here. It was on me. Good people and good drinks. Too bad it always ends up in good and drunk.
Well now, how about this? Show me your still, and I'll see if I can give you a hand with your business.
My still?
Mm-hmm. Let me show you a cool trick.
Sam escorted her over to where she kept her stills, and the woman inspected the rustic-looking stills.
Okay, I'm gonna do something, and all you have to do is close your eyes.
What?
Come on now, just do it.
Sam reluctantly closed her eyes.
All right, open them.
As her eyes peered open, she noticed her still was now a shiny copper and as if it was brand new.
What happened to my still? What did you do?
Take a deep breath. I just used tools I know to make this still always full of the best tasting moonshine you ever had.
Sam inspected the new still and tapped the side only to hear that it was completely full.
It'll always be full. Always. This is how I'm going to repay you for saving my life. Thank you. But now, I must be on my way, needing them herbs still.
The woman strolled down the path to the road, and in the blink of an eye, she was gone. Sam was really skeptical of this new still, so she grabbed a glass and poured herself a little taster.
This is actually amazing.
Sam was so excited to discover that this woman wasn't full of bull honky. This woman was for real, and so was the moonshine. She couldn't believe what had happened to her and began selling this wonderful moonshine in her always full still to any local buyer that wanted some. Over the next few months, Sam would tend to her pigs and chickens while producing some of the best moonshine around. She could easily fulfill any orders that came to her with a quick twist of the spigot from the always full still. All the locals that knew good moonshine were amazed by her recipe and the quantity that she could make it at. Even the local law enforcement turned the other cheek because it was that good of stuff, and they all wanted to drink it for themselves. She was all the talk of the northern Louisiana and western Mississippi moonshining community. Her new life was pretty easy, and pretty basic too. It only consisted of feeding her pigs and chickens and selling moonshine to anybody who wanted it, and she was completely content with this type of life. For the first time in her life, she was happy with where she was. This daily routine of selling moonshine and feeding her livestock continued, and she wasn't complaining one bit. One summer day, as she was feeding her pigs, the Tratera woman strolls up to her house and is greeted by Sam.
Great to see you again. Come in and have a drink. It's the least I can do for what you've done for me.
No, thank you very much. I gave up drinking a while back. Is the stuff still good?
It's amazing. I can only keep up with so many orders only because of what you did. But it's weird. With this new still, I don't have any grains from the process to feed my pigs. Now my pigs and chickens are weak and get sick often.
The woman smiled and began to write a few lines of what looked like a poem on the wall of her front porch next to her door in red paint. The writing said, "The heavens sure are great, but greater is man's greed. The still was made, the moonshine was sold, but the animals sure are hungry." After she finished writing this on the wall, Sam came over from the pigsty to read it for herself. She read it to herself and was curious about what this could mean, but as she turned around to ask a question, the woman had vanished. Sam had no idea what was going on with this whole situation. Confused, she headed back over to the still to get herself a drink to calm her nerves, but as she turned the spigot, nothing came out. Man, I wish I had one of those stills. Well, maybe I don't. I think that if I had that, I would just drink moonshine all the time, and I bet that's gonna hurt my liver after a while. But it'd be super sweet to show to friends who came over, and they would get so many parting gifts. And knowing some of my friends, they'd show up with 10-gallon buckets, or even some friends with a 50-gallon drum, and just constantly be filling it up. But it's good to see that good deeds are rewarded. If she hadn't stopped to see if she was alright on the side of the road, she wouldn't have met that nice lady who helped her out and messed around with her still. It's funny how a nice deed can pay off, but then she came back and took it all away. Let's not remember that bad part though. Let's just do nice deeds and hopefully they'll come around and help you out. Alright? I also felt kinda bad for the pigs and chickens though. Their owner is reaping the benefits, but the livestock are struggling. They're going hungry while she is just getting drunk. Well, maybe not getting drunk, but she's drinking and selling her moonshine. You always gotta remember that when you make a decision, it could affect others without you even knowing it. So let's keep that in mind. Well, what did you think about this week's episode? Let me know either in the comments or on the Plum Forest Podcast subreddit. The discussion page for this episode is up on the subreddit, and there you can feel free to chat with others who may have the same or different questions about this story. You're more than welcome to chat there, and it'd be great to see all the people that listen to the story and hear their opinions, because I like listening to what you have to say. A huge thank you goes out to Camille M. and Senan Justel for helping with the voices. They both did a southern accent, which I thought they did a great job of. I hope you all enjoyed listening to today's episode. I had a blast working on this one and really am thankful for each and every listener that listens to these. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on whatever app or platform you are using to listen to these. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Plum Forest Pod to get updates on upcoming episodes so you don't miss a thing. You can always go and check out the website at plumforestpodcast.com to re-listen or get some other cool information about this week's episode. We're working on getting a Patreon going for this podcast where you can see notes, scripts, and maybe even some outtakes that my friends did while recording. Some of the outtakes are really, really funny. That'll be up and running in the next few weeks, so be sure to check it out. Thanks again for listening to today's episode, and make sure you listen to next week's story, which is actually going to be a little bit of a longer story. Until then, take care and be safe. You just listened to a Where's Kellen production.
Wow!